Welcome to Sunshine Cathedral's Queer God Squad. It's Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. I am Bishop Darrell Watkins, the Senior Minister of the Sunshine Cathedral. With me today are Bishop Robert Griffin, my husband, and the Reverend Dr. Ann Atwell. We are the Queer God Squad. Visit sunshinecathedral.org to learn more about us.
Queer God Squad was created by Hotspots Happening Out to support our mission to explore the value of faith in the LGBTQ community. There is no streaming TV show like this in the entire world.
In 2026, we are celebrating the 41st anniversary of Hotspots magazine, with Queer News Tonight sharing over 11,000 stories and 11 million views so far. We are the largest nonprofit LGBTQ media organization in America, and we encourage you to support our mission to inform, entertain, and educate our community and allies.
We are proud to announce that Hotspots Happening Out is a beneficiary of the Florida AIDS Walk. Funds raised will be matched dollar for dollar in support of Hotspots Happening Out HIV policy reform and educational programs, including the MSM Conference. We invite you to join us on March 21st to walk in support of the HIV community. This is the Sunshine Cathedral Perspective. Queer God Squad discusses, has anyone been cured of HIV? LGBTQ Nation highlights 9 extraordinary cases of individuals who have achieved long-term HIV remission, offering vital clues for future research. While these outcomes are often term cures, experts often prefer remission to describe the sustained absence of the virus without antiretroviral therapy.
Most of these patients, including pioneers like Timothy Ray Brown, the Berlin patient, and Adam Castillejo, the London patient, underwent stem cell transplants for life-threatening cancers like leukemia. Their donors possessed a rare genetic mutation, CCR5 delta 32, which prevents HIV from entering immune cells. Other notable cases include Marc Franke, the Düsseldorf patient, Paul Edmonds, the City of Hope patient, the oldest to be cured, and the New York patient, the first woman cured using a unique cord blood transplant.
The search for a cure evolved with the Geneva patient, who achieved remission despite his donor not having the CCR5 mutation. Similarly, the next Berlin patient and the Oslo patient demonstrated that even partial mutations or sibling donors can lead to success.
Despite these breakthroughs, the procedure remains too invasive and risky for general population. However, these 9 individuals, collectively representing decades of survival, provide a roadmap. By studying their unique biological responses, scientists aim to translate these rare medical miracles into a safe, accessible, and universal cure for millions living with HIV worldwide. This is yet one of those reminders of keep hope alive. Yeah. On so many levels. I tested positive back in 1987, and so to have been in that early stage of whatever was going on, what wasn't going on, to now come back and read these kinds of stories, yeah. It's a good reminder that, there's still research being done, there's still hope. We, of course, got to the place that at some point, we just learned to live with it. It was going to be just like diabetes or high blood pressure, so we learned to live with it. So it wasn't complete remission, but we learned to live with it. It was treatable, it was manageable. But come back and see these kind of stories, like there's yet another level of hope that's out there that still might just happen for folks who are going to come behind us. And so, it's just a reminder, I am just amazed at science. I'm amazed at technology when it comes to this kind of science, and to be able to break down molecules and all those little things like that. I remember as a kid, I got one of those little play doctor kits. With the little things you put in your ears and you check the heart. And I wore my mother out checking her heart all the time, making sure she was still breathing. All these little things, but just that kind of little medical wondering knowledge to know what, first sight of blood, I pass out. So that is not for me. But to have people who are smart enough to understand these things and can break these things down and can do transplant, can do the research around what's needed, to say there's yet another level of hope that is out there waiting for us to embark upon for people who are still coming down the line.
I remember in the early days when we would say, we just anything to hold on to some hope, right? We'd say HIV means hope is vital, or AIDS, AIDS is always in divine safety. We would insist that people were living with AIDS, not dying from, but living with. And, everyone's just living until they're not. And so to reframe that into you're living, so just everything we could. And we celebrated when there were some monotherapies and they'd work about 18 months to 2 years. But when that worked, there was another monotherapy, hooray. And then we celebrated when every opportunity infection could be treated, except for, I think, PML. And then I think eventually even that could. But so it's build it, and then the combination therapies. And the world changed. Yeah. And then those medicines got safer, more effective. And now I remember we had like 4 or 5 drugs. Now I think it's 30 something. I mean, like it's a chart on my doctor's wall, just on so many. And so just progress. You used to have to take 3, 4, 5 medicines. Now we're taking 1 or 2. You can have injections now that last, 8 weeks at a time. I mean, it's just progress. And now more progress. Yeah. There are 9 people in the world, not 1 or 2, which would make it, almost like just random. But no, 9 people in the world who have experienced complete remission. That means in our lifetime, that could become just the next thing, just the next positive thing in treatment of the disease or whatever. So yeah, it's very exciting. And those of us who've been around a long time who have seen each new step, I'm not surprised by it. I'm just like, well, what took you so long? It's very exciting news. And again, you embrace it, you find hope even when hope seems silly, and eventually that hope seems to be rewarded. And so keep hoping. Yeah, we can live with it now, and that's great, but it can even get better, and 9 people have just proven that.
I remember the very early days and losing friends. And I had this conversation with my sister just recently. My sister is an oncology nurse, and she works for a very large cancer institute. And when we had that conversation, she said that she remembers working the HIV ward. She worked that ward at a major hospital. And she says it's so interesting now, because that was back in the 80s. And she says, here it is, 40 years later. And she says there are so many illnesses, including HIV, that are chronic now. It's just a chronic condition. That includes cancers, that includes HIV. There's so many things now that are just chronic. You can take care of it. You can take care of yourself with a pill or an injection or something like that and live virtually a normal life. Yeah. And it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. So more hope, more research.
And and despite the fight of what's happening here in America right now with our current administration, with all the funding cut back around medical research, this is still a bright light in a dark world. This is this is one of those reminders we cannot give up. We cannot give in to people who want to cut funding for medical researchers. We got to keep fighting for the medical researchers across the board, because these are the kind of things that leads to a breakthrough.
Yes.
And so we need more breakthroughs like this.
Also, some illnesses are especially stigmatized.
True.
And because, like Black women right now, that's the highest rate of infection. I think Miami, just the whole city, just a hotbed of new infections. The first people that people knew about it were gay men, sex workers, and Haitians, just randomly, country. But, and so, okay, do you see who, and why it took a long time? The government wouldn't even say AIDS for 7 years. I mean, because it's identified with disposable populations or populations that experience a lot of prejudice or whatever. And so I think we might have gotten here even sooner if it was just rich white people who was the first group, what I mean? But no, it does show that medical funding leads to medical miracles. I mean, it's super important. And I also remember, until very recently, the scariest thing you could be diagnosed with AIDS. Like that was people would fall apart. Now I think people are more concerned about Alzheimer's, rheumatoid arthritis, leukemia. I think there's things that people like. AIDS. You don't want AIDS, and if you have HIV, you don't have to get AIDS, and you can live with HIV for a long, long time. And so we're there, but now we've gotten to the point where it's not the scariest thing.
That's right.
And the scariest thing is now not the scariest thing. I hope can give people hope for what is the new scariest thing. When we pay attention to it, when we fund it, when we work on it, we can make a difference.
Yes.
And that's today with the Queer God Squad.
And before we go, we want to remind you about the Cathedral Pub. The Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts offers the Cathedral Pub experience. The Cathedral Pub offers performance attendees an inviting space to gather and connect with friends prior to the show, or a place to be while waiting for the doors to open. Guests enjoy live music, beverages, and appetizers in a comfortable meet-and-greet environment while they await the start of their performance. On show nights, the Cathedral Pub opens an hour before each performance and closes 15 minutes before it starts. Entry to the Cathedral Pub requires a separate purchase from your seat ticket, and the link can be found on the seat selection page. Be sure to purchase before checking out. There is a limited number of people who can get pub passes, so don't delay.
Thank you for joining the Queer God Squad today. We're here daily at 3 p.m. to have some fun and to discuss what our LGBT community is talking about. Please like and share this and other episodes of the Queer God Squad.
Sunshine Cathedral is the world's leading progressive queer church. Progressive, queer, and God are words that naturally should go together. Remember that we're all in this together. And also remember, you are God's miracle, not God's mistake. Until next time, we are the Queer God Squad. Goodbye.